Will the best program in the Pac-12 be the best team in 2019? Mark Rogers TV with preseason position previews. Next. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down the Washington Huskies. We've got Chris Fetters on the line from 247 Sports. Join him right there at Dogman247 to break down Washington athletics football front and center. All right, defensive back. People are going to misconstrue what I'm going to say, but I'll say it anyway. I'm not calling Washington DBU. Florida, Ohio State, LSU, wherever you want to go for that moniker all time or even in the recent past. But if you go very recently, last 4 to 5 years, certainly Washington arguably is right there with anybody in college football. And when you've got that kind of talent, guys move on to the NFL. Thus, you have a near cupboard that's a bit bare besides Miles Bryant going into 2019.
Yeah, that's true. Miles Bryant is basically going to be leading the line as the main senior. Again, DBU, who knows? I mean, Washington does have 6 guys right now that are in the NFL. Pretty recognizable names, obviously. Byron Murphy just signed with Arizona, but you got Sidney Jones at Philadelphia, Kevin King at Green Bay. You got Marcus Peters with the LA Rams. Now you got Jordan Miller, who's also one of the rookie guys that's going to be at Atlanta with Caleb McGarry. And then he's obviously being joined in a group with Desmond Trufant at Atlanta, one of the big veterans there. So, they're building that depth in terms of getting guys into the league. I think it's certainly a story that Jimmy Lake could tell over and over to get these top guys in. I know that's what he told Byron Murphy. I know that's what he told a guy like Trent McDuffie, who's going to be one of the top freshmen coming in for the defensive backs this year. But again, it's one of those things where Jimmy Lake has done such a good job of just kind of throwing guys in at the right time and getting them experience as freshmen and redshirt freshmen to really get them situated. It's hard to think that Byron Murphy redshirted his first year at Washington, but he had to because he was behind guys like Sidney Jones and Kevin King. And I think that's the way they kind of like it. But right now, like you said, Miles Bryant, the one senior, but they've got some guys, some redshirt freshmen coming in. Guys like Kyler Gordon, Dominique Hampton, Julius Irvin that I think are going to be really critical this year. But then again, the juniors, Elijah Molden and Keith Taylor, I think everybody needs to remember those two names. Elijah Molden, the son of Alex Molden, who played collegiately at Oregon, played like 7-8 years in the NFL. Big-time talent, can be a corner, can even play at safety if he needs to. I think he's kind of the heir apparent at the nickel behind Miles Bryant. And then Keith Taylor, just kind of a Kevin King clone, legitimately 6'2", 200 pounds, super rangy, can be put on an island, is kind of one of those guys that Jimmy Lake is going to be, he's going to rely on him as being kind of that shutdown guy on one of the ends, basically take the entire half of that deep third out and just, rely on the quarterbacks are going to have to find somewhere else to throw the ball because Keith Taylor is going to be so good back there in terms of trying to get the ball back and score or get the ball. That's what Jimmy Lake always says is that the two jobs of the defense are to get the ball back and score or get the ball back. So they've done a good job of that over the years. The one thing where they're going to be breaking in some new guys is in the secondary position. They do have Brandon McKinney, who is going to be the stalwart there. Taylor Rapp is certainly a guy it's going to be really missed. Would have loved to have him for his final year at Washington, but he was ready to go. But you lose him and JoJo McIntosh both to the NFL. Now all of a sudden you've got some holes there a little bit. Brandon McKinney's going to be one of those guys. They moved a receiver, a talented kid by the name of Alex Cook, from the offensive side to the defensive side. I always kind of thought, Mark, when I saw his high school film, when I knew he committed to Washington, I looked at it, and man, that kid plays with a defensive mentality. He loves to hit. He loves to get after it. So I wasn't surprised that Alex Cook moved to the defensive side of the ball. I think he sensed that there was an opportunity to maybe make some hay at safety. So he's going to be one of the guys. But I think one of the breakout guys this year is going to be junior Isaiah Gilchrist. He was a star at Bellevue High School, just on the other side of Lake Washington, was an all-around player for the Wolverines there. It's been a little bit slower to develop compared to the other players in the secondary under Jimmy Lake and Will Harris, but he really came of age this spring, and he was arguably the MVP of the spring event, the spring game at the end of April, had a pick six. I think he may have even had another pick or had a couple breakups. He really had a great game. And so I think that just is going to be a great springboard for him to go into the fall with a lot of confidence. And I think he's going to be one to look out for. And then don't forget, true freshman who enrolled early, Cameron Williams from Bakersfield, came in, and he basically just kind of almost looked like a veteran from day one. Didn't seem phased by what he was asked to do in terms of scheme and everything else. If he was going to do something wrong, he was going to run into that wall 100%. I think that's what Chris Peterson really loved about him. Talked a lot about Cameron Williams when we met with him in the press during spring ball. So he's another guy to show up. But again, talking about all these guys, Mark, it just goes to show what a wealth of riches Washington has in the defensive backfield, and what a great job Will Harris and Jimmy Lake have done in terms of not just recruiting these guys, but developing their talent too.
Absolutely, and I've read good things about the guy that you mentioned at cornerback, the young Kyler Gordon in the 2018 class, number 19 corner there, that he could be potentially another lockdown corner that they have coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, he's got like a 42-inch vertical, and he's got all the athleticism you want. And again, Dominique Campton didn't want to gloss over him, but he's kind of a Keith Taylor clone now too. Again, another 6'2", 200-pound plus guy who's super rangy, who is going to be fighting tooth and nail for playing time behind guys like Elijah Molden and Keith Taylor. So the competition this fall is going to be phenomenal.
Good stuff from Chris Fetters. Join him on Dogman at 247 Sports. Chris, hopefully we can round out the rest of the offense and defense at another time, but I appreciate you stopping by.
Absolutely. Anytime, Mark.